Welcome to the University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy Podcast. I'm your host, Margaret Gregory, and we're pleased to have as our guest today David Foreman, a pharmacy alum from 1987 who has established a career as an herbal pharmacist. David, thank you for being with us. Before we get into your current role, let's talk a little bit first about how you became interested in pharmacy as a career, and then what led you to USC to pursue your education.
I was always interested in medicine. Even as a little child, I remember having this little plastic, basically medical bag. So it had like a fake stethoscope, and it had these little itty bitty vials of colored candies that looked like pills. And I'm thinking I was probably between 3 and 5 years old, somewhere. I mean, I was really young, but I remember my family always calling me Dr. Dave. You know, yeah. I've always been fascinated with medicine, very curious. I had two things that I wanted to do. One was either go to medical school and become a medical doctor, or the other was to own a pharmacy. And the owning the pharmacy came because I had a neighbor of mine growing up that he lived behind us, and he had a really nice piece of land, probably like 6 or 7 acres, beautifully landscaped. He drove a really nice, expensive car, and he was the town pharmacist. He was the guy that owned the independent pharmacy, and I thought that was a pretty cool lifestyle. Between those two, pharmacy seemed like the best fit. I had considered a biology degree, but I didn't feel like that really offered exposure I needed to figure out if I really wanted to be a medical doctor or a pharmacist. And then the last part that actually drew me to South Carolina was I grew up in Pennsylvania. I'm the only one in my family not to go to Penn State University. Truly, like the only person. My mom, dad, aunts, uncles, cousins, sister all went there, and I just hate cold weather. And every summer we vacation at Myrtle Beach for 2 weeks. We'd get the same hotel every year, and I just remember loving South Carolina. And so I can say right now, I have zero regret on my decision to do what I did. It's so funny because I think when I was there as a student and maybe the first 3 or 4 years out, I didn't really necessarily appreciate, what I was getting and what I was experiencing. It's been, and I swear it's accelerating as I get older. My appreciation for, having attended the College of Pharmacy, more and more grateful than I've ever been. And I'm trying to do more and more things with the College of Pharmacy because I realized what an impact it really had on me.
Talk about your career path, some of the things that you've done throughout your career, and then what led you into herbal medicine.
Oh man, you just opened Pandora's box here on this one. Right out of college, I moved to southern border of Virginia to work in an independent pharmacy in a very rural town of just 1,500 people. I moved there just to save money because I had a goal of owning my own pharmacy. And so rural town, very inexpensive, decent wages, and I just love community pharmacy. And then 2 years after that, I actually opened my own pharmacy. It was a medicine shop franchise just south of Richmond, Virginia. I did really well with it. When I sold it, we were averaging just about one prescription per minute, and I loved that. I loved the immersion into that smaller community I was in, and really patient care and counseling. But somewhere in that last couple of years of owning the pharmacy, I started getting frustrated with the HMOs and just some of the regulatory stuff that went around it. I became really disenchanted and unhappy as a pharmacist and started getting interested in natural medicine at the same time. So the more and more I learned about herbs, which was originally what I focused on, as I learned, I started teaching classes, which led me to being a guest on a radio program, which led me to having my own talk radio show, which led me to being on television where I was covering health topics on the news, but giving natural approaches. And the fact that I had this pharmacist medical brain and then this natural health brain, I was able to merge those together in a way that no one has really, honestly, really been able to do. I think pharmacy teaches you biochemistry, physiology, and initially botanicals, now all things natural, so not just herbs and such, but you name it, I've probably covered it. When you find out how those things actually work or what they do in the body, it's real easy to figure out how can they help somebody with their particular health issue. And I spent about 16 years in radio, on eventually satellite radio, 5 days a week. It was a call-in health talk show, and I started working directly with the companies that actually had ingredients that go into health food products, whether it's a tablet, capsule, powder, or into a food or beverage. started working with the companies that actually had science to prove their efficacy of those ingredients and help them figure out how to make that science understandable, usable, so the consumer can understand like what it is and why they might need it, how it's supposed to help them, et cetera. And that's pretty much the last 7 or 8 years. I travel all over the world speaking at conferences. I don't sell a product, I don't sell an ingredient. For me, it's more about my integrity and credibility and sharing truth and education.
It's so nice to see what you're doing in bringing together natural medicine and traditional medicine and merging those two so that people have a greater understanding of how they can better support their health.
This all goes back to what I said at the beginning. Like, I really love patient counseling. So the natural health thing really does integrate well with modern medicine. I think so many people look at natural health, and a lot of the quote experts that are out there don't necessarily have a medical background. So they kind of poo poo on the drug side of it. And that ends up hurting a lot of people. And so for me, like, really just teaching people about how to integrate ingredients into their lifestyle to perhaps mitigate side effects from the medications they need to be on. My initial goal is to, if I can, one, help decrease the side effects of your medication, whatever it is. Two, if I can perhaps support whatever that health challenge, let's say it's blood pressure, I can help support your blood pressure. Maybe you won't require as high of a dose. Your doctor can reduce the dose, which will also probably decrease potential side effects, increase patient compliance, etc. I mean, obviously, the goal for me is to help people figure out what to do so they don't have to take medications. But my reality is that's not going to be it from probably 95% of the people, maybe more. So for me, it's just really just educating people on what's out there, what's available for what they have, and then educating them that it might take 4 or 5 different ingredients because unless we know why you have your condition, then somebody might say, "Oh, I take omega 3 for blood pressure," and you take omega 3 for blood pressure, it doesn't do anything for you.
You did mention earlier how you have become more engaged and active with the College of Pharmacy. One of the things that we've talked about is that you have been speaking to students and mentoring one on one. Why is that so important to you?
They just gave me goosebumps, and I mean it. I mean, I get choked up when I think about it. To be honest with you, I just feel so grateful for what I've learned in my career, and I've had many different aspects of my career. And when I was at the University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy, we had no classes on botanicals and herbs, and so I had to go through a lot of processes to get to where I am. But one of the things I feel like every time I speak to either a group of students or to an individual, I remind them of a few things. And one is probably the biggest takeaway is that pharmacy school's a struggle. Everybody does. There's probably people that paint this picture that they're not struggling. There's an awful lot of people at the university that are there for you to support you and help you. And there's even people like me that aren't at the university, that are past alumni that can help you. And so for me, it's just more about just giving back because I know how hard it is to get through school. I mean, it's brutal. It's the hardest undergraduate degree, of any. And then you throw in the PharmD part. And so for me, it's just important to help either influence them in guidance of what direction they may want to go by asking questions or offering things that I've gone through. For me, it's just really about giving back. The fact that somebody at the school knew about me and was able to connect me with that student a couple of weeks ago, to me was like, that was huge. If you can get through pharmacy school, or how about we say when, I don't like the word if, that it opens the door to whatever you really want to do. Because if you can put your mind to getting through college of pharmacy and getting that degree and getting licensed, I'm telling you what, man, there's nothing that can hold you back at all. I mean, you got to just believe it.
And I have heard our professors say that having a pharmacy degree can open so many doors for you and take you down so many paths. What advice do you have for students who are still trying to determine what path they want to follow?
So my first one's an easy one. I mentor a lot of people, not just in the College of Pharmacy. I mean, it's other people looking to change careers. And the first thing I always say is, it's a question. What would you do for a living if money wasn't the issue? And then two is just, what do you have a personal interest in whatever that looks like. Like I said, volunteering, interning, talking to people that are doing it, etc.
On the flip side of that, as an alum who is giving back to the college, what advice do you have for other alumni when it comes to supporting our students in our college?
For me, it's just giving back. How the equipment, the things have changed. Since I was a student, those things cost money, and if we really want to have a leading university, college of pharmacy, it takes money to buy those things. And I was fortunate. My dad had a really good job. I was fortunate, but there's a lot of people that aren't. And so being able to support a student that's incoming, all these things, my career, even now, every day I use my college of pharmacy degree, even though I'm in natural medicine. I'm indebted to the university. And I want to encourage alumni, everything you can give, whatever position you're in, whether you're just out of school, don't forget you wouldn't be where you are today without the education you got at the University of South Carolina College of Pharmacy.
On the I have one final question for you. What does it mean to you to be a Gamecock pharmacist?
See, I got goosebumps again. It means a lot. I said it a little earlier, just the leadership in the College of Pharmacy. I couldn't be prouder to say that I went to school there. I travel around the world speaking, and I actually have a University of South Carolina Gamecock Pharmacy flag. I'll have a picture with me in front of the Taj Mahal, or me at a speaking at a conference in Bangkok or whatever. And I mean, that's how proud I am, is to be able to share. Like, I'm carrying you guys everywhere I go. I was just in Spain last week at a conference, and I have a client in India that was attending. And on the last day, he's like, "Where's your flag?" And I'm like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "You remembered that?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I thought we were gonna get a photo with your flag." I'm super proud to be a part of the school. I'm proud to come back every time. Every time I come to Columbia and go there and meet students, I'm like, "Oh, why don't I just live in Columbia? I just need to live here." Because I feel like if I did, I could have like a more positive impact. Like, that's how excited I am.
David, it has been a pleasure having you as our guest today. Thank you so much for talking about what you do and the significance of mentoring and supporting our students.
My pleasure. Thank you again for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to the USC College of Pharmacy podcast. Stay up to date with the latest in pharmacy education and innovation by following us on iHeartMedia, Spotify, and YouTube, where you can explore our full library of episodes. Until next time, I'm Margaret Gregory.